Alright guys, Max with CAtuned Off-Road, and we're going to install a twin Aerobie compressor on the 2024 Toyota Tacoma. I'm going to show you a couple of things, what we're going to include in the kit, and what else you can buy separately. So the kit will include the main bracket, and then you have the upper ECU bracket. I will explain that a little later. You will get an air compressor, the twin air compressor. You will get the manifold, and you can also purchase air compressor kit, like a little line kit. So you'll need basic tools. You need some wrenches. You need some sockets. You know, we can go over that. You'll get a couple of fittings and stuff. And then obviously you need a Tacoma 2024. So let's get started. We're gonna first disassemble the Tacoma, and then we're gonna go here and explain how we put this thing together. So this is a 2024 Toyota Tacoma. This air compressor will work with the hybrid, non-hybrid version. So I'm going to show you where it's going to go, guys. So basically, in this area here, we'll move this over. Since we have our struts, we have the ECU here, and we have a small ECU here. So all this gets relocated, guys. And what we're going to do, we're going to get started unscrewing this pieces here by using a couple of 10mm bolts, and it's off. Alright guys, so now that we have the bolts unscrewed from the body, we have to unscrew 8mm bolts from the actual ECU, or computer brain, whatever you want to call it. And we have to reuse those bolts once we unscrew them. I'll show you later in this video. Now that we removed the original bracket that holds the computer, there's two computers here. Once we remove that, you really don't need it. All right, guys, our next step is to install the air compressor onto the bottom bracket. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip this around. What I've also done is unscrewed the filters to give us a little more extra room. And then, yeah, we're gonna install this just like this. Using a 10mm socket, we're going to tighten this up nice and tug. Alright, and our next step is to install it inside the cab engine bay. Let's do that. Alright, once you got the compressor installed, I want to show you an important thing. You'll have a 90-degree male-female end that you're going to screw into the compressor side. Make sure when you have everything connected, if this is 12 o'clock here, 12, you're looking at about 11 o'clock-ish, have this pointed to. That way, when you install this at the end, and you put this reservoir here, this muffler, it's not kinking, it looks really good. So if you want to pause this video and look at this angle, look at all this, you guys can do so. Just remember, around 11 o'clock, this is coming out just like that. Bam, bam, boom. Alright guys, our next step, before we do the upper bracket, we have these bolts that are kind of extended. That way, because if you look at this, this is lower than this. This is higher. So we're putting those in to extend. That way we're not touching the actual ECU. And then once we do that, you'll use your factory bolts to screw it in. Get them nice and snug. That way it doesn't vibrate out. There you go. So I'm going to show you, once we have those in, this basically sits like this, as you can see, and then on here we're going to use our factory bolts that came from the ECU computer. All right guys, now we're going to install the actual bracket with the compressor onto the vehicle. Just hand tighten everything first before you start torquing it on. All right, you guys, this is pretty tight in here, but it's still doable. All right, guys, we're going to install these filters back where they're supposed to be because it was in the way of our screwing the bolts in. So let's go ahead and do that. So next step is the wiring, and you got the hot and positive on this side, or negative. You got the fuses, and then you have on the other end, you have the connector to the compressor. Also, we have the connector to the switch. So make sure you have all this. And I think the best way to route this, I should say, is the batteries on the other side. We're gonna jump across this loom right here, and then connect to the actual compressor. All right, guys, I'm going to demonstrate how to connect your switch. This is the bottom side. You'll have two blacks. You'll have a red with a yellow wire. You'll have a solid red, and you have a blue. What we're going to do is, you're going to have instructions as well, but we're going to do the bottom, which is, numbers that, 7 and 8, black. All right, make sure they're in. Now you got the yellow with the red. We're going to connect that to number 2. All right, let's do that. And then our next one's going to be 3 and 3 is going to be red, and 6 is going to be blue. Let's see if it can show you what's going on. All right, 6 blue. Again, guys, most of the stuff is going to be right here. So I'm going to show you. So you got the red and the yellow. It's going to 2. Red is going to 3. Blue, white, going to 6. Blacks are going to 7, 8. Refer to this manual. It's going to be inside your booklet, ARB, twin air compressor. Alright guys, so we're going to install this little computer on the side. Right now what we're trying to do is just kind of make the wiring harness clean and simple, trying to keep it away from the heat of the compressor. Billy here is going to connect it right now. There it is. Okay, now we're going to connect the wires, you guys. It's just kind of a plug and play situation here. It gets a little tight, but yeah, you can definitely do it. There you go. Hear that click? When you hear that click, that's success. All right, so you got the harness here. You have the positive, negative fuse box. We're going to run this along the engine bay across to the actual battery right here. That's where we're going to connect it to. We're going to have some zip ties here and there. Just make it nice and clean, guys. Make sure it's away from the engine components, all that heat and stuff. So take note of that. And we're just going to go ahead and place a couple of zip ties here and there along this this engine loom, nice and clean. Get it all nice and tight here. All right, guys. Next step is going to be installing the cover with that engine ECU. So we're going to use 2/4 20s. Make sure you get a hand tight before you start tightening everything. You might have to like push it out on it or pull away from it to line up with the holes. And yeah, once you have that, it's great. And then you're gonna have the one that's the 10 mil in the back. That one might get a little tight, but it's doable. All right, guys, real quick walkthrough on what this dual air compressor mount kit is all about. So we have the dual air compressor here in the bottom. We have the airline, braided airline goes to this muffler. This holds, you can put front and rear lockers. It's got the chuck, and you got the trigger right here, guys. Bam. Everything gets relocated. It looks really nice underneath the hood, really nice and compact. Okay, guys, this includes our install for the twin air bead compressor underneath the hood for the 2024 Toyota Tacoma. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate. Give us a call or shoot us some email or just stop by the shop. Thank you.